Afternoon, welcome. So I'm going to fix the battery problem with this thing. I'm going to add in a bit more. I've already taken this battery out. They did use some regular solder on this side and on this side, but I just clipped it. I ended up clipping it. I tried to desolder it, but in order to desolder you need to heat it up a fair bit, and it wasn't doing it, and so I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna cut it out. So I cut it out, and now I'm going to put two new batteries in. These batteries don't have huge capacity. I've measured these two. Both of them are about 1300 or 1300, and I'll put them in parallel into here. Fortunately, the way that the plastic is arranged, the way that they actually made this thing, you can actually have both batteries sitting in there anyway. So I'm going to have it set up like this. It's going to require, you can solder them on using your regular solder, but it's not the best way to do it. It's better if you actually use something like this. So this is a spot welder, and it quickly applies electrical current, high electrical current, and fuses or spot welds the batteries to a strip. These strips are made out of, so these are the strips, they're made out of like nickel strips, and they can come in different thicknesses as well. I've never used this before, and so I'll be using it for the first time on camera. And then I'll solder the wires onto the nickel strip itself. Okay, so what we've got here is, so it's flickering on the camera, but it isn't flickering in real life. It's got about 62%, 63% battery. So I can set a power down and set the delay. So I can set it for like 2 seconds delay. It was automatically on 1.7. Maybe if I put it on 2 seconds, and then power of about 60, I think. We'll see how it goes. Something to mention, these batteries are both at the same voltage. I checked it with a multimeter as well. And so you wouldn't want to put two batteries that aren't charged to the same level. So these two batteries are charged to the same level. So imagine having like the negative pushing down on it, like this, and then putting down the positive, and then holding it there. So the negative is making sure there's a decent contact, and then I'm putting down the positive. Right. So I made a beeping noise, and I saw there was a bit of smoke as well. So that's at about 60% power. Now I just want to see how, it's not the firmest, you know. I'll give it another go. I might actually put that up to 80%. Cool, this is now at 80%. Now what I'm noticing is that it smokes a little bit on the red, on this red positive terminal, where it doesn't on the black. I'm just going to test to see, so you can see a mark there, that was where the black was. This is where the positive terminal was. So let's just test if I can pull this off. Yep, I can still pull that off. So maybe I will go through to the 100%. Okay, and this is at 100%. Ooh, now both of them sparked that time. There was the negative, there was the positive terminal. So that's a lot different. It still comes off, so I'm thinking if I just do it several times, make several spots, it should stay on. Cool, so that one. Cool, this time around I'm gonna weld it while it's inside this case, just so that it's in a good spot. The cables are quite close together, and the spot welder itself is quite close, so you kind of have to muck around with that a little bit, but it's fine. Cool, and now for the negative terminals. the cables get a bit warm. This is not too hot. No, there's some warmth, but it's not too hot to touch. So I've taped both batteries together so that I can hold them quite close while I do this last weld. But as you can see, parallel, both positives are up here, both negatives are down the bottom, so it's okay to put them like this. If you had them in series, they're going to explode. Be careful, don't do this unless you know what you're doing. I'm going to go for a relatively close. That was terrible, I think. Is that even? Oh, it is. It is actually attached. I'm surprised. I thought the middle one wouldn't actually go through. As you can see, I haven't quite cleared the previous welds from, I think it was Makita. I think I got this from like a battery pack. Let's just push this down so that we can get a decent hit. So I might do another one like here, and maybe over here. That's not coming off very easily. Okay, sweet. And I've still got 60% battery remaining, apparently. That's fantastic. I did about at least 10 welds, I think, so I'm pretty happy with that. So just double checking what the voltage is across these batteries. Now I charged them to a storage level, which was about 3.6. So the battery charger that I have, which is this guy, and it's an X-Tar, it's pretty good, and it does the job, and it has a storage mode, and it takes it to about 3.6, 3.7. And so it's brought it to that level of voltage. But let's just check to see what the actual voltage is at the moment. And it's there. This was the voltage level that I had on both batteries at the start, 3.634. So that's looking good. That's looking good and healthy. And these aren't warming up or anything, so I haven't accidentally short-circuited anything. Fantastic. So this will easily go into here. The batteries will go into here. So now I just need to hook up the negative terminal and the positive terminal to the battery, and this will have more battery capacity, which is awesome. Don't have to charge it as often. Cool. So the first solder is done. Looking pretty good, pretty well connected. And we've got the second solder done. And again, it's soldered onto the nickel strip quite well. So I find that because the thermal mass is smaller on the strip itself, it's way easier I find to solder onto the nickel strip than it is to solder back here on the battery terminals, which is what some people do. You might see it on some YouTube channels. By all means, if you want to do that, that's up to you, but that's not for me. I'm just going to put the batteries this way. I reckon just because of the way that the cords are aligned, when they had the battery in that purple one, they had it the other way around, but as you can see, this positive terminal comes down here, and so this light should work, and by all means it does. Woo! Look at that. And in the last video I didn't actually show it dimming, so I'll show you it dimming as well. If you press and hold, the light will dim. And it gets down to a bottom dim, and then you take your finger off and go back on, then it'll brighten up back again. And then you can cycle through the other bits and pieces. That is fantastic. Awesome. Another project almost complete. Just got to put the screws back on, then it's good to go. And I'll let you know, I'll put in the description how much capacity this battery actually has, because this is what originally came with it. So this is the battery that originally came with the bulb, with the lamp, but there's no capacity measurement on it. So I'll do a measurement when I get home. I'll put the capacity measurement into the description. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Stay safe, break things, fix them, have some fun, all that good stuff.